The Chinese export figures now point out that India's solar module imports from China have dropped by 76%, which is in value $2 billion US. This is in the first half of 2023. Absolutely. Dr. Jaijit Bhattacharya, your comments particularly with regards to India wanting to achieve the goal of having 500 gigawatts by 2030, is it too ambitious? And if India were to fulfill these goals, what more needs to be done? There are production-linked incentives, but is that enough?
So in terms of whether the goal is realistic or not, right now we have the capacity to produce about 68 gigawatt of solar modules. It'll be jacked up to about 110 gigawatts by 2026. So achieving 500 gigawatts of installed capacity by 2030 is eminently possible. However, let's look at some of the details and the sobering part of the conversation is that we are producing the solar panels, but the solar panels constitute of solar cells. We've got limited manufacturing capability of solar cells within this country. That needs to be immediately jacked up as quickly as possible.
Right.
The second part of it is that even when we install 500 gigawatts of electricity, keep in mind that we got sunlight for only 8 hours in a day to a maximum, which means that out of 500 gigawatts, only 1/3 of it will be contributing to electricity, and that means that we also need to invest into battery and utility scale batteries, which can then store power. And also, to have a much more significant impact, we need to strengthen our net metering or gross metering capabilities so that people and rooftop solar can start contributing to the total energy that we're talking about. So for the 500 gigawatts to become a reality, people who own the rooftops need also to contribute. Institutions need to contribute because, as the various panelists mentioned, the solar industry constitutes of multiple things, multiple components, including a significant part in terms of financing. Right now, the return on solar panels and setting up a solar generation is quite challenging. The typical return is 12 to 13% if it's not a hybrid plant, and that gives you very little net margin, net of the cost of capital itself. So there are pressures coming in on the solar industry, and I think government support on that is also important. The government is already supporting in terms of manufacturing, but also in terms of deployment and deployment in addition to the availability of capital are both very, very important issues.
Right.
Having said all of that, one of the points that we are missing out really is that we have actually crossed $1 billion of solar exports last year. So we have done over 8,000 crores of exports of solar module and solar energy related equipment, which is a big achievement. It was almost a 360% increase that we had last year. And I think it will only accelerate this year. So that's something we really need to celebrate and cheer. And it's happening because of appropriate government policies being put into place.
Okay.